Myself, Dr. Hanuman Prasad. I am working as an assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry at Institute of Aeronautical Engineering, IARE, which is located at Dundigal. Today I am going to discuss a topic from Module 5 named Gender and Culture. And the title of the topic is Gender and Film Part 2. Part 1 is discussed in the previous session. Now I am going to discuss Part 2 of Gender and Film. And the contents from this topic are 1980s muzzle culture, action quotes, aliens, 1986 movie, guess the link, the final girl, the 1990s, Terminator 1 and 2, Susan Jeffords, guns and muzzles, and finally references. Let's look at each and every content in detail. First one, 1980s muzzle culture. Okay. So, what is 1980s muzzle culture? Means in the 1980s time, the films followed the muzzle culture of men. So based on that, they have allotted action to the men. So action heroes. So like that, men are assigned roles in the film. Okay. So which is a part of gender and film, which is a further part of gender and sensitization. Okay. So the 1980s was a time when masculinity was overtly displayed. Means masculinity was purely focused. Most obviously through the action genre. Through the action genre, as I have told just now. Okay. So for example, in 1985, the film called Rambo, First Blood Part 2. And in 1989, Kickboxer movie or film. And in 1987, Predator film. And in 1987 again, Lethal Weapon film. And in 1988, Die Hard film. And 1988 again, the Terminator film. There are part 1 and part 2 of Terminator. Okay. So these are all 1980s movies and based on muzzle culture of men. So in films, men are considered as action heroes based on their muzzles. So muzzle culture is the key role in 1980s time. Okay. So 1980s was a time when masculinity was overtly displayed, most obviously through the action genres. And women were wide from these films. And when they did appear, they were simply motivation for men. So when women are present in those films, so generally they are wide from these films. Wide means avoided from these films. If they appear, they just motivate the men and go. Okay? Because they don't have strong muscles, right? Because of that. So in 1980s time, women are wide or women are avoided, and if they appear also just to motivate the men. Okay? So this is about the 1980s muzzle culture. And let's look at the next content. Action quotes. Jeffrey Brown has given the action quote that the muscular male body has become the genre's central trademark. Okay, action genres, as I told. The muscular male body has become the genre's central trademark. What trademark? Central trademark. Because of that only they can sell those films. Otherwise, those films are useless. Okay. And again, Jeffrey Brown has given one more action quote. All that was required of an actress was an innocently sexual appearance and a ready scream. Okay. For an actress, what is required for an actor, especially in action films? Muscles are required for men. And for women, what is required according to him? Jeffrey Brown. What is required? Innocently sexual appearance is required for women. So actress. It is the uh, actress is the female form of actor. And Yone Tasker, he has also given two action statements, action quotes, an almost exclusively male space in which issues to do with sexuality and gendered identity can be worked out over the body. What he has given, an almost exclusively male space in which issues to do with sexuality and gendered identity can be worked out over the body. So over the body only they can be worked out. Means again masculine culture. And one more quote, action quote given by Yone Tasker is women are hysterical figures. What do you mean by hysterical? Uncontrollably emotional. So women are considered as hysterical figures because they are uncontrollably emotional. Who need to be rescued or protected. They have to be saved or protected. Okay. So, and because of that reason also, women are not taken in action films. In 1980s time. But later they also went to gyms and they also improved their muscles and they also became the heroes of action films. Even though female. Okay. So that is what is mentioned in the next slides. So these are the action quotes given by Jeffrey Brown and Yone Tasker. Okay, let's look at the next content. Aliens. It is a film. It is a replay played by Sigourney Weaver, a challenged cultural norms. Who played this? Sigourney Weaver. So this is a replay, means one series kind of thing, one web series we will say, no? So that kind of thing. So she is strong and relatively dominant. Then only she became an action hero. And active, dominant. However, she is still arguably a sexual object. In the part 1 I have discussed, men are considered as the enjoyers of the female. And female are the sexual objects. Okay, are gazing objects. Men are gazers and women are the objects of gaze. That is what is explained in the previous part 1. Okay. So, but whatever it is, whether she is action hero in that aliens film, she is still arguably a sexual object. Means an object of gaze. Sexual object means here, what is the meaning? An object of gaze. Gaze means staring. Okay, means constantly or consistently looking. Okay, so you can see here how muscles she has, and she is holding a gun and firing. Okay, so that kind of roles were played by female also. So that is why in that time itself the gender sensitization has occurred in those masculine culture. Okay, so in that film oriented part, but most of the women are generally muscularly weak because they are soft in nature, right? As per the origin. Okay. So now let's look at the next content. Guess the link. Means women are also muscularly improved and men are generally muscularly strong. Okay. Now putting women in traditional male action roles, like male are doing in action roles, women are also doing those kind of action roles. So putting women in those action roles without changing their psychology. Okay, so this is important. Without changing their psychology. It's just cinematic cross-dressing. What is it considered? It is considered as cinematic cross-dressing. You can see here left side and right side. Left side woman is there. So she is wearing a bra and muscular appearance is there. And right side boy, obviously. He is having muscles and lack of shirt. Okay, showing the muscles completely, body also. Okay, because no restrictions. Okay, and left side is given to the, just now I have explained, Aliens movie or Aliens film, and right side one is Rambo. So that I have shown in 1980s muscle culture, Rambo, 1985 film. First Blood Part 2. Okay, so this is the guessing of link. Left side one is female muscular strength and right side one is natural male muscular strength. This belongs to Rambo movie and this belongs to Aliens. It is female, it is male. It is female, it is male. Okay, so both are doing the action films. Okay, yes. Now let's look at the next content. The final girl. The term final girl is coined by Carol Clover. What is Final Girl? It is one of the films in 1980s era. The final girl is the woman who is left at the end of a horror movie. So in a horror movie, if only one woman is left at the end, then she is considered the final girl. So the term was coined by Carol Clover. And she must be sexually unavailable or virgin. So it is explained about that final girl. She becomes masculinized by adopting phallic symbols. Sometimes have ambiguous names like Sydney to protect herself. And Carol Clover argues that men are able to cheer the final girl purely because they are coded as male. Purely because they are coded as male. Okay. So this is what is the final girl coined by Carol Clover. So means you can see how dare and dashing actions are taken by girls and boys, or females and males, or women and men equally. So that means in this part we can say gender sensitization has occurred. But there are still many points or many places where the gender sensitization has to be arrived at. Okay. Yes. Now let's look at the next content. The 1990s film culture. Films in the 90s responded to the general stereotypical depictions of genders. So stereotypical depictions. Stereotypical means so it is of their natural origin. Okay. And reaction against films from the 1980s. So it is a little bit improved than 1980s era. Aliens had allowed women to adopt a new role in film. So again part 2, part 3 will come now. So there is a gap of 10 years. So there is a new role with improved visual characteristics. And Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis in Thelma and Louise. Okay, so these are some of the examples in 1991, means 1990s era. And Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2. So in the previous Susan Sarandon and Gina Davis in Thelma movie and Louise movie in 1991. And Linda Hamilton in Terminator 2 film, which was released in 1992, 90s era. Okay. And Jodie Foster in Silence of the Lambs film in 1991. So finally, Unit Oscar has given a statement defined by a quality of masculinity and enactment of a muscular masculinity involving a display of power and strength over the body of the female performer. So, defined by what is the quality here? Masculinity, an enactment of muscular masculinity involving a display of power and strength over the body of the female performer. Okay. So, for action movies, masculinity is the important character. So, slowly, when the decades passed on, the muscle culture has arisen naturally. Okay, that is what they are explaining here. And let's look at the next content, Terminator 1 and 2. So these two are the separate films. Both have take released in 1990s era. In the Terminator 1, Sarah Connors adopted the stereotypical female action actress. Right? You can see the left side. This is Terminator 1. Stereotypical means their natural role. So, as they were. And in Terminator 2, she has changed both mentally and physically. Means psychologically and muscularly. You can see here in the second image. So, this is part 2, Terminator 2. Okay. So, in 1, she adopted the stereotypical female action actress, means without any masculine visuality. And in Terminator 2, she has changed both mentally and physically. Okay, you can see the image here. Okay, means stereotypical female action actress in first part, means as she looks naturally. But in Terminator 2, she has changed mentally as well as physically. Okay, to show the strength of the given character. Okay, so this is about Terminator 1 and 2 regarding gender and films, which is a part of gender sensitization. And now, Susan Jeffers, who is the director of these two films, Terminator Part 1 and Part 2. Sarah Connors looks like the mercenary means a professional soldier hired to serve in final of foreign army. So what is mercenary? A professional soldier who is hired to serve in a foreign army. Okay. She has trained to be through all the intervening years wearing military fatigues, toting heavy weapons and having a mission to perform. So this kind of equipments are given. You can see here in the second image. Okay. So the actress name is Sarah Connor and she lead the role. Okay. And as final proof of her new hard character, she even forgets to love her son. So being concentrated in the character, or being focused in the character, or being entered thinking that the character is she only, herself. Okay. So she forgot to love her son. The witness to how Sarah ignores her son for most of the film. So most of the film you can see and observe she forgot to love her son because of the focus on her masculine character. Okay, means action character. And the excuse that she is concentrating on keeping him alive puts her in direct competition for the Terminator's role. Okay, so she is concentrating on keeping him alive, puts her in direct competition for the Terminator's role. And body, Terminator's role and body. And while she is focusing on being a super soldier, okay, while she is focusing on super soldier, she focused on the body. Okay, so I hope you understood. And the Terminator is working on being a better mom, listening to and playing with the son, that Sarah hardly notices for all the weapons she is carrying. Okay, that Sarah hardly notices means she is always focusing on the weapons, how to use them and all, how to kill the opposite members as a soldier. That is what is the thinking power, right? So in that thought process or in that action process, she forgot to love her son even. Okay, and she forgot to listen to his words or his. She forgot to play with him and all. Okay, as she focuses on the weapons that she is carrying. Okay, because that is the role, that is the character that he has to play, and the character is Terminator. Okay, so that is what is the description of Susan Jeffers about the Sarah Connors as a part of gender and film in gender sensitization. And finally, guns and muzzles. So muzzles are compared with guns. When they have muzzles, they can carry guns. Then only gun is suitable. That is what they mean to say here. Otherwise, if they don't have muzzles, you cannot hold the gun properly, you cannot use the gun properly, you cannot operate the gun properly. Okay? Muzzles have chiefly symbolized and continue to symbolize masculine power as physical strength. Okay? What muzzles represent? Masculine power as physical strength. Frequently operating as a means of coding the naturalness of sexual difference. Okay, naturalness of sexual difference. We can see sexual difference, muzzles are the general characteristics of males, and softness is the general characteristic of females. So that is what they mean to say, masculine power as physical strength. And coding the naturalness of sexual difference. Okay, this is the naturalness of sexual difference. Lawrence Coolidge has given a quotation that social attitudes towards female bodybuilders. If female bodybuilders are there, so what is the social attitude? Means what is the society perception on them? Just trying to be men. Okay, they are just trying to be like men. Are accused of being lesbians. Means they may like another female instead of male. So to impress another female, they are being masculine. Okay, I hope you understood. So accused of being lesbians by the society. So that is the problems faced by female bodybuilders in the golden era. But nowadays, this has overcome. This thought has overcome because gender sensitization has been achieved in this issue. Okay, especially in film point of view. And Jeffrey Brown has given a statement. Sarah Connors, Linda Hamilton, this is the role. Was New York magazine described her as the power body like that of men. So in one New York magazine was there. So the magazine described the power body of Sarah Connors. So which is like that of men. Okay, means women are also improving their muscles and body naturally, not only artificially by going to gyms. Naturally they are improving. Okay, so that is why these muscles are compared with guns, and those who have muscles, they can operate the gun in the action films. Okay, so that is how gender sensitization has been achieved in action films, because both males and females are leading the heroic roles, leading roles, we can say. Okay, so I followed the references: Gender Studies by Columbury and Gender Sensitization by Rajalakshmi Kalyani. And one more book, Gender and Culture by Deborah L. Best and Angelica R. Puzio. The digital object identifier DOI is 10.1093/YSO/978019067973.003.003009. Okay, So these are the references that I have followed. And finally, thank you very much for your kind attention.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.